The Leagues Cup. The brand new tournament began on July 21st, where every MLS club and every Liga MX club faces off in a World Cup style tournament. We have seen some fantastic moments so far, with Messi's Inter Miami debut, the penalty shootout between the Vancouver Whitecaps and Club Leon that went 19 rounds. Was this the tournament that all MLS and Liga MX fans were waiting for? To understand whether the Leagues Cup has been a good or bad idea, let's start from the beginning. The tournament debuted in 2019, where we've seen Cruz Azul and Club Leon be crowned champions. The tournament was originally just 8 teams, 4 from MLS and 4 from Liga MX, where they played in a single elimination tournament. In 2022, MLS and Liga MX announced they'll be expanding the tournament to 47 teams, with both leagues pausing their seasons for this tournament. The winner, second place, and third place finishers will get qualification to the CONCACAF Champions Cup, with the winner of the Leagues Cup getting automatic qualification for the round of 16 with a reported $40 million prize money. Before the start of the tournament, I wasn't totally bought in. We saw Mexican TV and pundits say they were not interested in this tournament and that they weren't planning on broadcasting it. That's why MLS decided to make the Leagues Cup be televised on the Apple TV MLS Season Pass. For me, it felt this was just another fixture or tournament to force feed the USA versus Mexico matchup, be it domestically or internationally. For the past couple of years, we've seen US soccer really try to milk this rivalry because they know it brings in the money, be it internationally, with, for example, the All-State Continental Clasico, where it's a one-off match between the USA and Mexico just to have another match between the nations, where we already see this fixture happen most of the time, be it in the CONCACAF Nations League or the CONCACAF Gold Cup. But for this matchup, it isn't during an official FIFA sanctioned window, so we only see the domestic players from both nations, not the best of the best players. Then we have the Champions Cup, where the winners of MLS and Liga MX face off in a one-off match. I feel I speak for everyone when I say this match just feels pointless, because it doesn't really prove much in the grand scheme of things. Then there was the recently introduced MLS All-Stars versus Liga MX All-Stars, where just like with the Champions Cup, what does this prove? For both tournaments, both sides don't take the match very seriously, as it's essentially a friendly. For me, I was a way bigger fan of when the MLS All-Stars faced off against a big European club, where we recently saw that in their match against Arsenal. I know they got blown out of this match 5-0, being the worst defeat in MLS All-Star history against a European club, but some of my fondest memories in MLS history is when the MLS All-Stars faced off against a big European club, and in my opinion, compared to facing off against the Liga MX All-Stars, I feel like these players bring out their best when they face off against a huge club in Europe. This may be because a majority of the biggest stars in MLS aren't American, so don't understand that rivalry between the USA and Mexico, but know what it means to face off against a huge club from around the world, especially from Europe. Then there's the already established CONCACAF Champions Cup, which I mentioned in my group stage predictions for the Leagues Cup, which if you haven't watched that video or seen my predictions from that, you should go check it out after you finish this one. That should be the tournament setting for MLS versus Liga MX matchups, with the stakes at an all-time high. Just like in the UEFA Champions League that many fans can agree is the best domestic tournament in the world, the CONCACAF Champions Cup is a rigorous two-leg matchup where it has the best teams not only from MLS and Liga MX, but clubs from Central America, where just this year we all got to witness Haitian side Violet's Cinderella story beating Austin FC, which the Leagues Cup wouldn't be able to offer. Then for the Leagues Cup, I felt it was another tournament to help fill up the pockets of US soccer to pit MLS against Liga MX in an already crammed schedule for both leagues. Then the magic happened. On July 21st, the tournament was underway, with the group stage matches kicking off, where the tournament instantly caught the eyes of millions of fans because of the long-anticipated Inter Miami debut for Lionel Messi, which did not disappoint as he scored the match-winning free kick against Cruz Azul. This set the tempo for the remainder of the group stage matches, as when it came to the enjoyment factor for these matches, they did not disappoint. I was worried we would see teams from MLS or Liga MX not field their best players because they wouldn't care much for this tournament, but that wasn't the case one bit. Matches every day with amazing goals, moments, and penalty shootouts. Fans, with myself included, were really enjoying this tournament, because what made this tournament so unique was we got to see clubs who probably wouldn't get the opportunity to play against clubs in Liga MX or MLS in a meaningful match get to showcase themselves in this tournament, because for some clubs they just can't get close enough to qualifying for the CONCACAF Champions Cup. This was able to bring in a new environment at these MLS stadiums for those teams. This will help the improvement in MLS and Liga MX, as these teams get the challenge and try to improve themselves in a continental tournament setting, which they never had the opportunity to do so. Do I think the Leagues Cup is a game changer? No. Do I think it's just another distraction? No. There have been some massive positives so far that we've seen from this tournament, and I will say the Messi Inter Miami debut definitely inflated viewership and popularity for this tournament. I am curious to see how everything pans out come the end of this tournament. For me, if MLS wants to continue doing this tournament, they need to remove the unnecessary fixtures, be it the Campeones Cup or the MLS All-Stars versus Liga MX All-Stars, because it begins to dilute the anticipation and excitement for this rivalry. The more you keep manufacturing these USA versus Mexico type of matches, the less it feels special. Stick to the CONCACAF Champions Cup and continue to improve the Leagues Cup, because I see the potential in this competition. The one thing that I and many fans can agree on that does need a change for this competition moving forward is the competition cannot just be hosted in the United States. They have to find a way to split hosting, because it sets Liga MX teams at a disadvantage, having to play all their matches away. We saw Liga MX side Club Leon have travel issues due to a mechanical issue with their charter aircraft from Vancouver to Los Angeles, which forced them to have to stay at the airport for an extended period, where for anybody that wouldn't be ideal, especially for a professional team that has to play in a match in a couple of days. As well, Liga MX sides were not given adequate training facilities, where if the United States and MLS want to host a tournament like this, they have to be able to provide proper training facilities for the other opponents. This question was asked to former Mexico national team head coach and former Inter Miami head coach Tata Martino, where we all know Liga MX are participating in this tournament because of the money that they receive for it, where Tata Martino's response to that was they knew what they were getting into, where as much as that does sound harsh, he is somewhat right in that regard. But either way, I'm not a fan of how much this sets Liga MX teams at a disadvantage, because in my opinion, the point of this tournament is to help the growth of MLS. So if you want to face off against Liga MX teams at their absolute best in this tournament, you gotta try to keep the playing field as level as possible. Too many tournaments and matches, not only in MLS but for the US men's national team, are always hosted in the United States. Then when MLS clubs or the national team play in more challenging environments, they usually crumble. Plus, I feel this could be a great opportunity for more MLS teams to get exposure to playing in more challenging environments. In the Mazatlan FC and FC Juarez match, which was a match between two Liga MX clubs played in Austin's Q2 Stadium, it was completely empty with not many fans attending the match. There's got to be a better way to split up the hosting, so it helps build the exposure for Mexican football on television and fans. There's been a lot of conversation online about the bias shown towards Inter Miami, especially in the recent match in the round of 32 against Orlando City, where the referee made a lot of calls and blatant calls in favor of Inter Miami. And I'm not a fan of how obviously they're trying to push Lionel Messi and Inter Miami to make it all the way to the Leagues Cup final. This shows that MLS is only interested in using Messi's presence to market the league, instead of using Messi as a launching point to increase the distribution of quality throughout the league. And I know this might be a very controversial and bizarre take from my end, but I'm not at all a fan of how much Major League Soccer is glazing Lionel Messi in this tournament. Lionel Messi is the greatest player of all time in my eyes, but you don't have to force it for him to make it all the way to the final and showcase his magical moments in this tournament. Those things will organically happen. We will see that throughout his course of being in the United States and Major League Soccer. But boys and girls, my opinion only matters so much. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. What are your guys' thoughts been so far of the Leagues Cup? What are your pros? What are your cons? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure to smash the like button on today's video, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and boys and girls, I hope you all have a lovely day.